out there. I'm going to carry this possibly all the way to tonight's Ranger game. The Penguins meet the Rangers in Madison Square Garden. Yeah, how do you like my Howard Cosell? The Rangers meet the Penguins here in Madison Square Garden. Game 4, a pivotal game. The Rangers want to avoid a 3-1 lead by the Penguins. The Penguins currently lead 2-1. What can the Rangers do? What's happening, everybody? I am Tommy C. Shot from the point. I am going to lead you. Hopefully you can hear this all because I had a little tech issues. Besides YouTube, we are also broadcasting. We're actually broadcasting on Twitch, which is new. And we are broadcasting on YouTube as well, which is quite a change. And what have you. So we're going to give this a shot and what have you. And see how things. And it looks like things are going on just fine on YouTube. So hopefully you hang in there. And if you'd like to give me a call on Skype, username Shot from the Point. You can do that from anywhere in the free world. You don't have to call New York or things of that nature. It's good to hear from you all. Let's go start with the Rangers. Of course, the Rangers will play Game 4 in Madison Square Garden against the Pittsburgh Penguins. However, the Rangers looked very good Game 1. They won that game mostly convincingly, not super convincingly. They had a very good first period. The Pens were able to scrap back, but in the second period, and the Rangers got a big OT goal, making them look very strong and picking up what I think was a long series with Philadelphia, but a successful series. But since then, the Pittsburgh Penguins, who have looked shaky at times in the playoffs against not only the Rangers but the Columbus Blue Jackets, they have seemed to have found their stride, they found their game, and they found their defense, which is most important whatsoever. Chris Letang's really a storybook comeback, which I think is actually being underreported in the hockey media right now. Chris Letang, of course, earlier suffering a stroke. It doesn't get much tougher than that. You don't get much tougher than that. Congratulations to Chris Letang, and let me tell you something. I am no Penguins fan. Not so much because they're playing the Rangers. I'm just it's the whole Crosby thing really never. I never got on board the whole Crosby train. But be that it as may, the Penguins have found their form. The Rangers have yet to score a goal on Marc-Andre Fleury since. Fleury, of course, he receives a lot of criticism from the media, really since after he won the Stanley Cup 5 years ago. And even as going as far as Thomas Volkun being their main goalie, running deep in the playoffs, and of course getting eliminated, getting swept by the Boston Bruins, who would then go on to lose a really epic Stanley Cup against the Chicago Blackhawks. You probably can hear that too. I'm actually playing with my poker chips. I probably shouldn't do that. It's very unprofessional of me. So, how do you like the new setup? We have, let's face it, I'm borrowing a bit from Joe Cronin show right now. A similar setup he has, and what have you. So, how do you like it? I'm actually really impressed by it. I think it looks, I think it looks pretty, I think it looks quite epic. Would you agree? Yeah. That's Mr. Epic. Giving out eppies left and right. Okay. What the Rangers have to do. Score goals. I think the longer this series goes on, you're going to see a lot more complaints in New York media about one Rick Nash. Prior to joining the Rangers, he had only 4 playoff games. Now, the rap on Nash prior to that was, they were able to put a team around him in Columbus, as talented as he was. He certainly can't carry a team, but now we're seeing this guy is not a playoff performer, maybe not a clutch performer. He was underwhelming in last year's playoffs. It showed in the Rangers-Boston series, and it's becoming really apparent now, although I don't think there's a lack of effort there, that Nash is not a playoff performer. Hopefully I'm wrong. Maybe he's still... he's basically gotten to playoff games in his late 20s. And, it's a tough stage to play on in Madison Square Garden. And, only really playing a half season with the Rangers last year. A half season being, a lockout season. And if you look at, you're really only playing a half season last year, not really contributing that much. The Rangers need him now more than ever, and they need goals from their top stars, especially. I mean, we can always get into the fact that, he's paid so much, so he has to perform. I'm not a big. The amount of money they make, really. I mean, I guess. Let me correct that. The amount of money make is important, as far as. I'm at a loss for words. I mean, it's what they're gauged on, but I never really bought that. But be that as may, he's contributing almost nothing. Absolutely nothing, and it is frustrating, Ranger fans. Ranger fans, and I'm sure the organization. He's paid very well. He's a tremendous talent. I personally like Rick Nash a lot, but you do have to wonder. There are those guys that are regular season performers, and they're not there's not playoff performers. I hope that's not the case with Nash, but it's certainly looking that case. They need goals from Rick Nash. Now, in good Ranger news, you are hearing that, although it's not been reported as of yet whether he's playing tonight or not, that Chris Kreider, coming off a broken wrist, am I not mistaken? Broken wrist injury. I'm not terribly sure. Does it say wrist? What are our top headlines today? He's coming off. I'm not terribly sure. He's coming off. I'm pretty sure it was a broken wrist. I don't know why I forgot that. He's coming off a wrist injury, and he will be. It has not been confirmed whether he'd be there tonight. Something tells me that he's gonna make it. He's going to make it, and if I know Chris Kreider well enough, and I don't know him that well, but it's just the type of player that he is, the type of player that I'm sure he wants in the game. Whether he can actually get in it or not remains to be seen. Chris Kreider, on the other hand, we're talking about Rick Nash. I mean, he's a budding star. Nash is more, of course, an established star. He has scored clutch goals for the Rangers, and not only in the playoffs his rookie season, which is technically it's still his rookie season, even though he's played in two separate playoffs with the Rangers. And this is his third. He's played in 3 seasons, but I think this still qualifies as his rookie season. That'll be over after this year, bouncing back and forth between the minors and, of course, his college. He scored very big goals for the Rangers in 2012, 2013, clutch goals this year. He is a playoff performer, as it appears thus far. And it will be nice to see him in the lineup to see if he can inject a little something. He plays real hard. He's a great kid. I like him a whole bunch. We can try to get some NHL video, and let's see what the NHL. We have video up here, and maybe I'll get to show it to you all quickly, hopefully. And let's get it queued up as we're speaking right now. So Chris Kreider could inject some much needed offense into the New York Rangers, and I would be very happy as a big Ranger fan. Now, as far as the Pittsburgh Penguins are concerned, there really isn't much to say. I've been heavy critic of Sidney Crosby and these sort of playoff meltdowns he's had in the last 2 playoffs. He has not been a leader thus far in these playoffs. He hasn't performed. There are rumors that he's hurt. I tend to believe those rumors. Whatever Crosby is or he isn't, he certainly plays hard. He certainly is. He's a somewhat professional hockey player. But there may be some injury issues, and it'd probably take a lot to take Crosby off the ice. What should they do? They got to keep doing what they're doing. They can skate with the Rangers. And on paper, they're a much better team. They need to keep putting pressure on the defense, taking advantage of sloppy passes what the Rangers are guilty of, and keep them off the power play. If the Rangers kind of find a power play groove, this could be very dangerous for the Pittsburgh Penguins. But it doesn't appear that has happened. And of course, with the performance of goaltender Marc-Andre Fleury, they've really answered some questions about their sort of playoff meltdowns that they've had in the past 2 seasons. Don't look good for the Rangers. But the Penguins can't get comfortable, and I think earlier in the season you had players like Matt Niskanen sort of step up to the plate and say that there was a leadership problem. I don't know why Matt Niskanen wasn't doing that, and Sidney Crosby. We mentioned that on Shot from the Point Live a few times, but as it appears to be the case that they seem to be, and Niskanen himself, they seem to be finding leadership and motivation and what have you, right here, right now. And now is the time, of course, especially with the Boston series, with the Boston-Montreal series shaping up to be a bloodbath. It's probably going to take a lot out of both teams, whoever comes out of there. And this should be a very good chance to eliminate the Rangers and move on to the Eastern Conference Final, hopefully take on a week in Montreal or Boston, and right there to the Stanley Cup. This is a tremendous opportunity for the Pittsburgh Penguins. They are an extremely talented team. They're an extremely marketable team. They have the top line, but they've had playoff trouble since they've won the Stanley Cup. And they've been marked with a strange outburst by their captain, Sidney Crosby, who does seem to be somewhat sidelined right now, which he's not producing. But I mean, I think this Pittsburgh Penguins team is so ridiculously stacked. They don't necessarily need Crosby to produce every night. Now, if they're firing on all cylinders, they're skating with the Rangers, they're putting pressure on the defense, keeping them off the scoreboard, keeping them from finding a power play groove, then the Pittsburgh Penguins will go on to the next round. And maybe guys like Brooks Orpik and Matt Niskanen are providing that leadership that was that they said was somehow lacking. So I'm looking forward to tonight's game. We got 10 minutes to go. I'm going to fire up the Xbox. Of course, I live in Europe, and I have to stay up real late to watch games and what have you. But the good thing is I'm just recently unemployed, so I got a little more time to put into the channel and what have you. Let's go over some other NHL. Well, I did promise you a video on the NHL. Of course, I can run NHL videos, which is fantastic. It is super fantastic. And let's check this one out right now.
He's been medically cleared in the sense that his fracture is now healed. So at this stage, I would say he's day-to-day. I haven't talked to him today yet, but found out yesterday he was cleared medically.
Is he a possibility for tonight?
I haven't talked to him, and today was his first time on the ice with his teammates, so I would just tell you that he's day-to-day at this stage.
No, you don't look too excited.
If you're forced to, if you go with Diaz again, is it really a point of this time you guys need to get a few goals and you feel like
I can't hear it either, folks.
Some more jump like you did the other night?
A few goals would help. Oh, jeez. As well as I might think that we have played so far, at the end of the day, it's easy to see we need to finish. And we could say we've had some great looks, but we've got to get it done. And we're down by a game. And we got to try and find a way to make that team pay for some of the mistakes that they make. Obviously, they've made us pay the last couple of games for our mistakes. And we need to do the same thing to them. We've got a couple of ideas here on where we can improve in the offensive zone. We started sharing that a little bit with our team this morning, and we'll reinforce some issues tonight.
When you're creating the lineup, are you thinking now that you are trying to get more offense in there because Seattle's going to be?
I want us to
Of course, we're
continue to play the
Coach
balanced
Vigneault. I
game
thought
that we
this would be on
have.
Chris Kreider, but it certainly wasn't.
We're defending real well.
But Coach brings up some good points. I mean, there is
we're generating
weaknesses
some quality
on
chances.
the Pittsburgh team, and one of the best ways to
of better quality if we do a couple of different.
Well, I mean, one of the
things.
best ways to take advantage
That's what we're
is
trying
put
to work
pressure
on
on
with
them
our team right
and
now.
be able to pick off and anticipate their mistakes and their. I don't know. I guess I want to sort of use a poker term. Their tells, so to speak, and what have you.
I wouldn't want to
It's a very
take
big Ranger.
any credit
It's a
away
very big
from
game
the
for the
job
Rangers
that
tonight. It
Pittsburgh's
might as well
done
be
so
3-0.
far. I mean,
Because
they're not only a talented group,
Although I think they're capable,
But, you know,
because
they
I don't
play
think
a
there's any quit in
strong
this team.
two-way game. That's
Going
why
up
they're
3-1
you
against
know,
a team like the
elite
Pittsburgh
team of the
Penguins,
year. So
no matter how I might feel
we're
about
playing
them,
well, but for us to
it's a
have
pretty
any
serious thing.
chance to beat such a
This is
strong
not going to
opponent,
be very easy with
it has to be our
easy for
very,
them.
very best. And obviously, we have
You know,
a couple
I
of
don't
guys right now
anticipate
that are trying very
it being a
hard,
walk in the park.
but they
I'm
need to
sure as
find a way to
anybody else,
contribute, and we need to find a way to
would feel the
contribute
same way.
offensively.
God, I absolutely, positively hate listening to reporters' questions, but it is interesting to see the contrast in the way that and Levio deals with the media, his friendliness, his easygoingness versus the prior coach John Tortorella, which, by the way, I'm much more entertained, and I'm a little bigger fan of John Tortorella, but I have to give Elaine credit after suffering dealing with a pretty disappointing October, to bring this team together under a new system the way he has is quite impressive. I know he wasn't really eligible for a Jack Adams Trophy this year because the Rangers, you know, they've been underperforming since their run to the Eastern Conference Final in 2012. So you don't get any points for rebuilding the Rangers. But I will say this, in my humble, taking a team that was playing a completely different style of hockey, and changing that culture, it's an incredible task. And if the Rangers did finish up pretty good, they finished second. They finished second in the Metropolitan Division, outside the Pittsburgh Penguins. I do wonder if they lose. That it won't sort of where do you go from here? Do you move players around? Do you trade a Rick Nash? I wonder if that'll be legitimate. Rick Nash becomes if he doesn't perform and they're eliminated this series, he becomes very movable. And who would have thought that that would happen? It's just pretty unbelievable that we're even talking about that. Let's I would like to talk a little bit more about the Montreal-Boston series, which I got to catch a little wind of. Montreal, of course, leads that series 2-1. And the interesting thing, what I saw after a punishing hit that actually injured Vanek by PK Subban. I think it was what I want to say, Lucic? I can't remember. I probably should go to Puck Daddy to figure that sucker out. PK Subban was put in the box, and that box penalty led to a breakaway that sort of broke the back of the Bruins pretty early in the hockey game, and the Bruins looked quite well. And boy, this PK Subban, is he really is anybody a bigger gamer in the NHL? I remember when the Habs were collapsing right in front of against Ottawa last year, and the overblown behavior on the Lars Eller hit and what have you. Subban was in it to the end, and he's really focused and he's really into this, getting a breakaway goal. Now, I think most of the goals the Bruins gave up were breakaways. What's going on there? This is one of the tightest, most disciplined, most experienced Stanley Cup winning defense. How are the Habs actually able to make these two-line passes and break through? It's unbelievable. It's just a mental letdown. The Bruins better realize real quick that they're in maybe the biggest series of their lives, and Montreal wants it just as bad as they do. Crying about the referees and things of that nature not going to advance in the playoffs, you have to go out and find a way to really neutralize PK Subban. And crying to the refs doesn't do that. This guy's been a weapon. He's the highest scoring defenseman in the playoffs right now. If things keep going on the way they are, he will be holding a Conn Smythe trophy. So neutralizing Subban playing the Boston Bruins game, keeping your heads up on defense. I mean, how do you? I just can't remember the last time that the Boston Bruins gave up so many odd man rushes, or in this case, as breakaways. It was really kind of bizarre to see. To be completely honest with you, of course, I'm rooting for the Bruins. I'm more of a Bruins guy. It's tough for me to root for French Canadian teams. Nothing to do with the French Canadians, but I'd rather a team for the original 16 from the East Coast, United States team, win. But of course, one of my favorite players in the league is none other than Patty Bergeron, often accused of playing the game the right way, and he's my type of player. I'm a Don Cherry guy. It's the way I look at things, and what have you. Well, I think we're getting close to the end, and you can see it's a much tamer broadcast. I'm chilled out, Tommy C, and I'll be really interested to see how this went over on Skype and Twitch and what have you. And I appreciate you listening in, and I hope you enjoy the games tonight and what have you. But if you don't mind, I'd like to do some plugs and sort of what they say, pay the bills and what have you. If you like wrestling, you should check out my friend. And we've been a friend for a year now after we founded Jerome Ginla Rand, my friend Joe Cronin. He is absolutely the best wrestling personality on YouTube. Tons and tons of videos, live shows after pay-per-views, Raws, and reviews of SmackDown and NXT. An informative and entertaining podcast. There's nothing like Joe Cronin's show if you're a pro wrestling fan, and he's of course been a great friend to this show. Complete insanity, hashtag fact, and I would hope that you would check out Joe Cronin. Now, 12:30 Eastern Standard Time tonight. You got to check the show that I do, and he's also at www.youtube.com/JoeCronin.com. Wait a minute, www.youtube.com/Joe Cronin Show. Whew. It's tough for me to pay attention. What can I tell you? Monetize this, the late night guy talk show. We cover sports, NHL, wrestling, basketball, racist tweets, prank calls. It is simply the wildest radio show in that tradition of wild radio shows in the United States. There's nothing better. There's nothing more interesting. There's nothing wilder than Monetize This, which I am very, very happy to be a player in. Joe Cronin hosts, and of course his co-host Chris Tazovich, and I kind of hang around in there and hope I give you a laugh. Let's monetize this. www.youtube.com/Joe Cronin Show. Check it out. 12:30 Eastern Standard Time. You're gonna be up late, or if you're on the West Coast, flip it on. Real funny. It's a good laugh. The music you're listening to right now is brought to you by none other than JohnFreemanMusic.com. 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 John Freeman is the official musician of the Shot from the Point production channel. He does a lot of work, and he wants to be out of his parents' basement terribly. So if you were thinking about starting your own channel and you need music and you want your own, on your own podcast or what have you, want to own it, lock, stock, and barrel, I would talk to JohnFreemanMusic.com. He's like Pep Boys, but for music. You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. He's like you just go, I want a song that sounds like, and he can decode that. He can decode that. All right, it's time to watch a game, ladies and gents, over here. And thank you for turning in. And I hope you enjoy all the games tonight. Hope the playoffs even gets more epic than it already is. If you want to contact me, you can do it at Tommy C SFTP. That's at Tommy C SFTP. I'm also on Facebook, Google+, and if you like right now, you want updates, you want wild highlights, and you want the most hysterical podcast ever, you check out Shot from the Point Live on Sundays, although we might have to do it a different reschedule. There might be some rescheduling, but the best way to find out about rescheduling events is to go to the Facebook site, which is Shot from the Point Other Crop. You can check that out. All these links in the description box below. Subscribe right now if you like what you hear. We got videos, highlights, a new show coming out called Epic 3, which we already ran a sort of a pilot for. That'll be coming real soon. An hysterical podcast, plus a little more straight up like again right now. And we also have a show, an interview show. If we ever get to do an interview again, called In the Crease with me, John C. That's all you get from the Shot from the Point Network. And we're also looking for talent as far as meme makers and writers and comedians and hockey minds and what have you. If you ever wanted to get in broadcasting, if you want to kind of shock everybody with your knowledge, you get what we're doing here, the guy talk style, the no holds bar. You know, we're not afraid to drop the F-bomb, not afraid to call somebody a pussy. This is the place for you. So I would recommend getting in touch with me, Tommy C, SFTP, on Twitter. And of course, if you see me, oh Christ, you know what I did wrong? I forgot I had the Skype thing up and I forgot to turn Skype on. That is truly amazing. No wonder I didn't get here from anybody. Oh well. Hey, that's what you gotta do sometimes. So I hope to hear and see from all of you. Yeah, and of course, you call me on Skype, Shot from the Point. Anytime you see it on, you're more than welcome to give me a ring with any information, news, and opinions. I'm all ears. I'm all ears. I'm all ears. All right, broadcasting live from the heart of Europe on Twitch, on Justin TV, our first real broadcast or private broadcast on Justin TV. I wonder if we're going to be doing Shot from the Point live on Justin TV. You're listening to me, Tom C, and this is, let's see what I got here. This just it. A hockey update. Enjoy the games tonight, folks. Enjoy everything tonight. Have a good one. Have a good one. All right, everybody. Have a good night. Enjoy the games. Take care of yourself. Good night. Subscribe. Peace. Check out Shot from the Point Live, the most hysterical hockey podcast on the whole damn internet. Check Facebook for time and schedule.